All right, it is 5:32 on March 10th. I will call the Select Board meeting to order. If you can join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. So our first appointment is with the town treasurer, which he was unable to make it tonight,
Yes.
right? Okay. So in our packet was the documentation for notes 465, 466, 467, 468, and 469, for a total amount of $275,000, together with supporting documentation. This is a new serial issue for departmental equipment. So this was for the annual town meeting, the first part on May 13, 2024. The town approved the purchasing of a dump truck for the highway department. So if I remember when we did this from last year, does Dave read through each one?
Sure.
And the amount and the number?
Yeah.
So amount, number, date, who we are doing the note with. And then, so that will be your motion, and then we all sign it. I can give this to you, because this is the one we're signing.
The short.
So there should be 6 things that you're signing all together. 5 notes and 1 other paperwork.
I make a motion, the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, Town of Granby, on March 14, 2025, for authorization by vote of said town, passed on March 13, 2024. Promise to pay Bank, East Hampton Savings Bank, $55,000 on March 14th, 2026, with interest at an annual rate of 4.5% payable annually.
And it should say the note in the left-hand corner too. It might be colored.
It's called, okay. Number 465, no, number 465, excuse me.
I'll second the motion.
Any further discussion?
No discussion?
All in favor?
Aye.
Treasurer, town clerk.
We sign, the majority of the Board of Selectmen right to the left.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yep. Yeah, I'll keep it all together in order for her.
Thank you. I will make a motion for note number 466 in the sum of $55,000 for the town of Granby, date of issue March 14th, 2025. Passed on town vote on May 13th, 2024. Promise to pay Bank ESB at Bank ESB the sum of $55,000 on March 14th, 2027, at an annual interest rate of 4.5% payable annually. Note number 466.
I'll second the motion.
Any further discussion?
No discussion?
All in favor?
All right.
Aye.
I will make a motion for note number 467 for the town of Granby, date of issue March 14th, 2025. Passed on town vote May 13th, 2024. Promise to pay Bank of ESB at Bank of ESB the sum of $55,000 on March 14th, 2028, with interest of 4.5% payable annually on note number 467.
I'll second the motion.
Any further discussion?
Discussion?
All in favor?
Aye.
I will make a motion on note number 468 for the town of Granby, date of issue March 14th, 2025, authorized by town vote on May 13th, 2024, with the promise to pay Bank ESB at Bank ESB the sum of $55,000 on March 14th, 2029, with an annual interest rate of 4.5% payable annually.
I'll second the motion.
Any further discussion?
No discussion?
All in favor?
Aye.
Hindsight, we probably could have lumped it all together and just said notes, 1 through 3, right?
Could have.
Yeah, because it's all the same amount, it's just different years.
That's
I like to hear Dave speak.
It's okay.
Everybody's informed this way. I will make a motion for note number 469 for the town of Granby, dated, issue date of March 14th, 2025, passed on town vote on May 13th, 2024, with a promise to pay Bank ESB at Bank ESB the sum of $55,000 on March 14th, 2030, with a annual rate of 4.5% payable annually.
I'll second the motion.
Any further discussion?
Discussion?
All in favor?
Aye.
And then that's everything summarized.
Notes number, I made a motion on all of this, so this is just reading into them.
I think that,
Make a motion on the full note now.
do you want him to make a motion on the full town treasurer's record too?
Sure, just read.
Okay, I make a motion on the certificate of town treasurer record, dated May 13th, 2024, for the total amount of loan authorized for the equipment dump truck highway department, for $275,000. Amount of this issue, $275,000, with due dates of the issue date of 3/14/2025, the due date of 3/14/26, 2027, 2028, 2029, and 2030.
I'll second the motion.
Any further discussion?
No discussion?
All in favor?
Aye.
Sorry. All right, next is citizen participation. So if we can have John Matthew come forward. Hi, how are you?
Good, John Matthew, 288 Taylor Street. First of all, I have to apologize if my first two questions you can't answer, but I have no alternative right now. First one is, in December of 2023, the town voted $5.7 million for the West Street School renovation, right? Now, this could be dumb, but it isn't 5.7. We find out subsequently that it's closer to maybe 14 or 15, but I'm not sure on that. does that make that vote in December 2023 invalid because it really wasn't 5.7?
Was it December 2023? I thought it was at our last annual meeting.
No,
No, it
it was
was
a special.
it was before I was on.
It doesn't make the vote invalid, because that money was still appropriated for West Street building,
All right.
so.
Second question. If the town does not vote for an override, would it go back, obviously, to the 5.7 million?
Yes, 'cause they wouldn't have any more to spend
All right,
with that amount unless the town authorized some different amount from the spend, but
all right. And that would mean that the 1.8 million in opera funds wouldn't be lost because the the renovation didn't take place.
So you're asking if they can proceed with the project with the 5.6 and
Yes.
not complete the amount that they were planning on
Right.
completing with the 14.4.
Right, as long as they expended before 2026.
Yeah, it had to be earmarked for a project, Chris said.
right, it is earmarked for a project. And then, and if the voters don't approve, actually don't approve to go to an override, then that's something that the committee's gotta look at and the select board has to look at as well as how to move forward with that project. Is it feasible to move forward with the project and what would be the need and requirements?
You definitely want to have options should the town reject it, correct?
Yes.
And the last one is easier. A few weeks ago, I can't remember when, but I asked the select board to look into creating a committee to look at the high school options, all right? I was wondering if you had any traction on that, what the progress of that.
So we had discussed it and we had discussed that the committee would need a charge. So unfortunately, with everything that we've had going on in town, we haven't been able to sit down and discuss that. Our meetings have been 3.5 hours long.
Yeah,
But that is something that Glenn, Dave, and I thought it was a great idea when you came in front of us. That is something that we want to do. It hasn't happened at this time with the changeover in staff and stuff.
no, I appreciate all your time. It's all volunteer. And it's a pain in the butt, I'm sure. A lot of work on your part, but I
No, we thought it
appreciate
was
it.
a great idea. I think, just like with the West Street, we need options.
Okay.
We need to know what's gonna happen, so we will work on it. Well, I think Kathy, if we can add it to our next meeting's agenda, I
Yep.
think just to
Yeah.
figure out, like Glenn said, we can't just start a committee. We have to know what their charge is first,
Right.
and then call for committee members, and then go from there.
Yeah, definitely since the school department sent in that note of interest, I guess you call it, or statement of interest to the Massachusetts School Building Authority, the process has already started, right?
Well, so what that does, and it was explained to us last year, is it just keeps us in the running. But they're not gonna move forward on it unless they are 100% sure that the taxpayers are going to back it up. And since we don't have, like you said, options, we don't know what that's gonna look like, but they have to send in the letter every year to
Oh,
keep
they
us
do.
in the pool.
Well, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Now, how would the Massachusetts School Building Authority know that the town is willing?
They actually ask the town and they get you can have like a non-binding vote if you wanted to. And the town could vote yes, they could vote no, it's non-binding. So that would give them, say, yes, we believe our town wants it, just based on that vote.
For the town to say yes or no, they would
Yeah.
have to have a price tag, right?
Right, well, they could, but it could be like a non-binding sense. The town wouldn't be obligated to it.
Right.
It's what they're looking for is that if you want to move forward, you want to make sure your town is willing to put up the amount of money that
Do-
they would need to do so.
Where would the amount of money come from? Who would decide that?
It would come from the voters. I mean, the amount of money, it all depends what they're looking to do to a school. Whether they're looking to, repair it, renovate, build a new one, all those things are obviously options.
Right,
So,
It would probably have to be a study, I would
Yeah.
think, right?
yeah.
And I think the last time we looked into it last year, the feasibility study was over $1 million. I don't remember the exact cost of it, but it was quite a bit.
Yeah, according according to the finance committee, 2 years ago, they mentioned in the town report they did for each town meeting that they mentioned a $3 million price tag for a feasibility study. That's in the book, but
It
I
could have actually been that high. I know it was in the millions.
but we might be talking about two different things. I'm not sure.
No, it was the same thing. It was to
same
do a
Yeah.
feasibility study for the high school.
Feasibility study is gonna give you an idea of options and what the cost would be.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
great. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And George Randall?
There'll come a time in your life where you'll need to write things down too.
I'm getting there.
The
George.
time's already there, George.
We already do that.
Well, good evening, George Randall, 52 Taylor. Thank you for allowing me a couple of minutes of your valuable time. I want to say thank you to each of you for the incredible amount of time that you have put into the Board of Selectmen in recent months. I realize that this has turned into a full-time, part-time job. Lots of issues, lots of changes, lots of challenges, and much more to come, including more hours and more meetings. I, for one, realize the amount of time that you have each invested in research at your homes to come to the meetings prepared. It shows, and I, for one, appreciate that. So again, thank you very much. I want to welcome Mr. Brzezinski as interim town administrator. I'd like to thank him for coming to Granby, and may his time be beneficial and fruitful. At the last Board of Selectmen meeting that I attended, a report was given on proposed renovations to West Street School Building with three viable options, or three options, two of which I felt were viable. I found the report to be reflective of a lot of time and effort, so I say thank you very much to the research committee. I realize what is ahead of the Board of Selectmen and the town of Granby to get a plan in place for the town government to be under one roof again. The proposal going to a special town meeting and then to a town meeting for possible funding. What I didn't hear at the last meeting was any talk of a contingency plan for if the vote passes or if it fails. In either case, we'll need to vacate the annex building at some point in time, as this building is going to be for sale if it is not already advertised. I would ask the board to consider that the town move to purchase that annex building while either the school building gets renovated or torn down and a new building is built, or a new high school is built and the current high school is converted into a town hall. It makes sense to me to at least consider this option and avoid trying to put everyone into the old library for a few years while we iron out a plan that should have been put in place long ago. It would also avoid having to move people a couple of times and also avoid the cost factors of doing that move. To me, it makes sense to purchase the annex building and move forward instead of moving backward. I would ask the Board of Selectmen to consider that option and put it forth to the voters to decide. The last thing I want to see is that the staff at the annex or the town receive a notice to vacate by tomorrow. Again, and most important, thank you all for your efforts to repair our town government. And thank you for allowing me this time to speak. And to my fellow townspeople, it is time for you to get involved too. Come to the special town meetings and hear what is proposed. Speak up. Get involved. Come to the annual town meetings. Hear what is said about each article. Speak up and get involved. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, George.
And George, too, I want to thank you. It's not too often you look out and you're not here. I mean, it shows that your dedication to the town and you want to be informed what's going on, and I appreciate that.
Thank you. We've got 50 years of service.
Yes, thank you for all your service, George. You've done a lot for this town.
You folks have done a lot for the town too, so from my heart, thank you.
And Kathy, what do you have for us for the updates?
Well, I have an update, which I believe you received also today, Crystal. A status on the fire chief review. We have scored the 6 candidate resumes. The committee decided to interview all 6. That will take place this Wednesday. From there, we will develop a group to go forward to an assessment with multi-stations. Our hope is to have a finalist to your board the first part of April. That's from Russ Anderson. I also, Mr. Morissette came in today. He wasn't feeling well, so he didn't think he'd make the meeting. So he sent me some more things for 17 East.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Captain.
We also have some start of the Dufresne's rentals. I have one June 7th. It's a celebration of life. And it's the large pavilion with 50 to 75 people. I also have the Friends of the Granby Veterans. They're going to be having a barbecue fundraiser for the Friends of the Granby Veterans. And that's going to be on May 31st from 12 to 8 p.m. And they're hoping for at least 150 people. The Friends of the Elderly concert start. The first one is on 6/17 from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. And it's at the gazebo area. And then they have another one on 7/15, again from 4 to 8 p.m. Their last one will be on 8/19 from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. Then I have a birthday party on 9/6, the main pavilion and the gazebo. And it's for a birthday party. And then again, the Friends of the Elderly, I have 9/10. It's the senior picnic from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. I don't have much else from, unless it's on the agenda tonight.
What was the date of that veterans picnic?
It is May 31st.
Thank you for that. So next is to accept departmental reports.
I will make a motion to accept the departmental reports.
I'll second the motion.
Any further discussion?
I don't have any.
I was gonna ask the board if there was some way that we could kind of troubleshoot for Jeremy. I know the 2024 Ford F-350 truck, the cable keeps freezing because the water got into the door. And so they advised, Marcotte Ford told them to park it in a heated garage, which we don't have. So I wasn't sure if, because the water got in there, if there's like some kind of tarp we can put up. You know how you see those temporary garage units? I don't know, to protect the water from getting into the door compartments. It's something that the board could look into for him, because I know it's not going to be heated, and I know the weather's getting nicer, but we don't want the water to get inside the door units. And I don't know, Marcotte Ford really didn't say that there's much they could do about it. Just said that it's happened before. And again, we don't have the heated garage to give him, but we can keep it out of the elements at least as much as possible with like a temporary unit or something. So I don't know if we can, what do you think?
We can look at it. It just sounds like there's something that should be able
Yeah.
to be
and
done
they're
to it.
saying
It
that
seems
they-
like it's,
yeah.
I mean, there's
It's
a problem
parking
there.
outside, water got into the door panel, and the cable that runs between the handle and the latch got frozen. And they're saying, put it in a heated garage and it won't happen, but the water should be getting in there, is my thing.
Well, right, I
Right.
agree.
Sounds like an
Usually
easy.
it's a seal or something like that. It's not
Right.
working correctly.
I don't know, so you wanna start with Jeremy reaching out to them and asking
Yep.
how they can seal that door, because it is a new truck. It's 2024, so we
Yep.
don't wanna see the damage done to it already.
No, and it's
No, great.
the 2024, so it should be under warranty.
Right.
Yeah.
I'll ask him
Yeah.
tomorrow morning.
Wonder if there's a seal that's just bad on the door maybe and they haven't looked at it.
That's what I said, check seal.
Check seals, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I just had a question about that, because I don't want to see that truck get ruined.
Well, telling us to put it in a heated garage is the answer.
No,
Or
absolutely.
put it in a heated garage.
If that were an option, it would be easy, but
There's something wrong. There's something with the
I
water.
agree.
It shouldn't be leaking in there.
Yeah.
I agree.
And then Jeremy said he attached the emergency backup battery lights for the,
It's on the back.
oh my gosh. I finished reading and I never flipped over. So is this something, he said that it's extremely expensive for the electricity because of all these backup batteries. Is there some way to do just minimal lighting instead
I'll
of
ask him.
64 units? That seems 64 battery backup emergency lights. That's a lot, right, for that building, for the library? I mean, you want to keep a couple lights on, but 64?
It seems like a lot. Yes.
I know, maybe we could decrease the cost a little bit that way by not
Yeah, I
doing
just
as
wonder
many.
why there's so many emergency lighting there.
Yeah. Might have been the newer system when it went in, but it seems
I
like,
can ask him. I'm sure he will give you something back for your next meeting.
Yeah, usually in a small, I mean, it's not that big of a building, you have maybe one row or two rows or two rows of every other light, maybe. Seems like a lot. I do agree with that.
and I think my other question was the furniture company. That's great that we're getting donations. Do you know what we're getting for furniture? Is it like desks and?
It was desks and
office
everything.
stuff?
It was through the OPM for the West Street School, and it was, they're thinking, it's at West Street now for when people, yeah. And they're very nice. When we were over there on,
On
Friday, looking at the building with Tammy and Ira, they were actually polishing them up.
Oh,
and
very
everything
nice.
there.
All right.
Yep.
That's awesome. All right, I did want to mention to the board too, I know the numbers for the COA was down, but with the weather getting nicer, a lot more people are coming out. That's good. All right, so all in favor?
All right,
Aye.
Aye.
Next is to approve and sign maintenance warrants.
I will make a motion that the town of Granby authorize for payment warrant number 54 dated 2/28/2025 in the sum of total disbursement for warrant 54, $474,832.87.
I'll second the motion.
Any further discussion?
No discussion.
All in favor?
Aye. I will make a motion for payroll warrant for the
Maintenance,
town.
maintenance.
I'm sorry, maintenance warrant for the town of Granby. Warrant number 53 dated 2024, 2025. Ugh, tongue tied tonight. My apologies.
No, Kathy, he already did the maintenance one. He's
Oh,
making a
so
motion
he's
for the
backwards.
payroll.
He
Oh,
did
it is
backwards.
payroll,
I was like,
I'm
no,
sorry.
he's right.
That's
Oh,
right.
That's why I'm confused.
I
I'm like,
apologize.
I'm reading payroll right in front of me. Why is, okay. It is payroll.
Okay, that's my fault.
So I make a motion for payroll for the town of Granby, warrant number 53, dated 2/24/2025, with a total disbursement on that of $463,639.93.
Right, I'll second the motion.
Any further discussion?
No discussion.
And as usual, I will abstain from teacher and select board salaries. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
David and I will vote out of necessity for the select board salary.
Thank you.
Thank you, Glenn.
I'll mention it.
I will make a motion for the town of Granby to authorize payment for warrant number 55S dated 3/7/2025 with a total disbursement for warrant 55S of $273,662.46.
I'll second the motion.
Any further discussion?
Discussion.
All in favor?
Aye.
I will make a motion for the town of Granby authorized for payments, warrant number 55 dated 3/7/2025 with a total disbursement for warrant 55 of $75,523.18.
Second the motion.
Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
That's all right.
Almost
Thank
lost.
you.
Right, next is to approve and sign the common victualer's license. Kathy, before he starts reading, is it just supposed to say Town of Granby, not Charter Days, right?
No, it's supposed to stay both,
Oh,
because that's a food truck and it's just for there.
oh, okay, all right. When I saw Brusso's Liquor Mart, I was like, okay, it's the business.
Russo, doesn't say liquor mart, does it?
It does. Brusso's
Oh,
Liquor
it's not,
Mart.
it's barbecue. She must have, yeah.
Oh,
It's
Brusso's
Brewster's
Barbecue, okay, because I was
So
so
go up and
confused, I was
change,
like, I don't think that's what it's supposed to say.
So
Do you
should I-
still want us to do it, or?
Yeah, you can just say Bruisers for chartered.
So not
Bruce.
Brusso's, Bruisers,
Yeah.
okay.
Bruisers for Charter Day.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I make a motion, the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, Town of Granby certify that Bruisers
Barbecue.
From South,
Barbecue.
from South Hadley.
from
Yeah.
South Hadley for the Charter Day weekend,
Yep.
and the address still the same?
Well, that's 32 Kellogg.
Oh, okay. At
Yep.
32 Kellogg Street, Granby, Mass. 01033, is hereby granted a common vic license in said Town of Granby for Charter Day weekend, and that place only, and expires December 31st, 2025, unless sooner suspended or revoked. License number 25-31, dated March 10th, 2025.
I'll second the motion.
Any further discussion?
No discussion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. She's gonna change it upstairs.
I'm gonna take it up and change it.
Do you want us to sign
Why
it
we
then?
still
Because
don't-
we already
That's
approved it, yeah, that's true.
Don't sign it. It's not the right one.
All right, nothing else in there for the big chillers? Okay. So next is the discussion of the interim TA position. So, as Ira Brinsky, made us aware last week, he didn't give you the hours as of now, right? So we contracted for 150. He said he would be close to it by the end of next week, right?
Yeah.
Right.
So there was 150 hours, that we had a contract with Pioneer Valley Planning Commission. And then he gave us an extension of the contract that would save $15 an hour by, just having a contract with him versus Pioneer Valley Planning Commission. And I know, Glenn, you had mentioned, stuff as well.
I did. So I reached out to Chris Martin and asked if he would be interested coming back as an interim town administrator, and he said he would be. So I would ask that the board schedule a meeting with him to see what his availability is. I did tell him it could be anywhere between 20 and 40 hours a week. He said he understands that. He would definitely like to help out the town.
So we know that Mr. Martin stepped down for health issues, right? So I just want to make sure we also keep that in mind.
No, he's well aware of that. We had that discussion, and I'm not gonna put it out there, but we touched on that, and I left it up to him to decide, and he said, I'd love to meet with the board and have that discussion. I'm definitely willing to help the town. I did talk to him about, we have a town administrator in place now for the future. We're just waiting on her to finish up her 90 days responsibility with the other town, but she also agreed to work some of the Fridays coming up, and I think that'd be very helpful. And Chris said he could, be here on those Fridays to kind of transition and go over things with her. And I think it's very valuable right now, especially with our town departments and their budgets, having Mr. Martin here, someone that's very knowledgeable of the past and understands the previous budgets and has worked with all the departments in the past. I just think I think for a nice transition, I think that's probably the best way to go. And I don't, like I said, I want to have that discussion with him. I believe he's not gonna take on more than he can do. He was open and honest and forward with me as to what he can and can't do, so. But I'd like to have him speak to that.
Should we also have a discussion maybe with Tammy, our new town administrator, in regards to, it would only be fair to Chris to find out possibly how long she might need the help? Is that a fair question to ask? I don't know.
Well, I think Glenn's just suggesting until she starts on June 2nd, and he would be here on Fridays to help train her on the
Okay.
Fridays that she was available. I don't think we were looking at, which we could discuss the future, but she is currently a TA now.
Right, and I think with Chris being here, and not just Fridays, but the other days during the week, but on Fridays, when Tammy is here, it gives me a chance to start talking about, what's happening in the town, what needs to happen, and what things are going on, stuff like that. So it kind of gives them that transition piece. And it will be, I'm sure, several Fridays I think it'll work together. I know Tammy spoke about there's a couple Fridays she couldn't do because she had obligations. But I think it'd be to me, it just makes sense. It really does.
I do like the movement that Ira Brinsky is making. I like the collaboration meetings that we're having, or that he's having on Thursday. So I do understand the continuity with the budget and having that knowledge. But I also feel like a new set of eyes can also help tighten up the budget a little bit more instead of looking at it, well, Granby's always done it this way, so let's keep doing it this way. Well, there's there's always other ways to look at it, and I think a fresh pair of eyes also helps. So I see both sides. I don't know. I think Ira Berensky is the one that I would like to stay with, but I understand I'm not the only one on the board, so I understand that people have other opinions. And just being the chair of the select board and working with both TAs closely, I like the communication that has been happening with Ira Berensky. And that's just my personal opinion. To also let the board members know, I did reach out to Tammy Martin, and she's happy to work with either. She enjoyed meeting both of them on Friday, so it is the board's decision.
Obviously both options are good options. Ira is here now. Chris obviously was here for many years and does know the system and how things go. It's a hard choice to make, but Ira is in place currently. And I guess we are discussing the option of extending him at this point, correct?
Or talking with Chris.
Or
But-
talking with Chris.
So there's two
either way,
options.
I don't think.
So I don't know, I don't know that there's a better option. I guess it's a choice. We could save money for the town by,
We don't know what Chris
limited-
will ask for, though, to be fair.
well, but it would be not full-time, possibly, right?
Either one of them is really not full-time.
Right, so,
But like I said, and I did say this, I've worked with Chris for many years. He has a passion for this town. Even when we needed him to be the town interim administrator at one time, he was looking at what best fit for the town, and even as far as money came up, and he wasn't willing to take more because he wanted him was that he's invested in a town. Nothing against Ira, but he's been here 3 weeks. And I just don't see how you challenge someone that's been here, 20 plus years with experience and knowledge of what's happening in the town and going in the town, especially as much that we have going on right now. And I've gotten a call from some of the department heads as well. So, that actually asked if Chris was coming back.
And I think it comes to a comfortability level as well. So they're comfortable with them. They've worked with them for many years. Because I also had a couple of the department heads say that they are enjoying Ira. So you're going to get both ends. So it is a very hard decision to make.
Well, I'm not looking at comfortability. I'm looking at knowledge and experience that someone has with this town. That's what I'm looking at. I'm not saying anything at all about Ira. Like I said, but he's been here 3 weeks, and for myself, it's hard to
He's got the knowledge, but he doesn't have the town knowledge. I see what you're saying.
which is a lot. When you're looking to transition a new administrator into the role, and any business, any town, any government agency will try to have a transition period because it's so valuable for the person leaving and the person coming in. And unfortunately, we weren't able to do that with Chris because, the first person we had didn't work out, and we thought it was going to work out. So we're several months behind where we thought we were going to be. It'll probably last October.
so are we looking for a motion to make this move forward, or?
Well, you've heard Glenn's side, you've heard my side now. Yeah, pretty much.
I would think, just at least talk to Mr. Martin. I mean, if that's not even an option, then, I have concerns.
And the hours with PVPC are up next week, right? I think. So that would mean that
We don't,
our next meeting.
we don't know, right?
Well, Ira said last meeting that it would be next week. He'd be at his 150. And our special town meeting is April 7th, right? So that would put us at our first meeting, well, would be April 7th. So the board would either have to make a meeting to meet with Mr. Martin before, well, we have our meeting next week too, right, on the 17th. So we could schedule a meeting for the 17th one to meet with Chris Martin and see if he's willing, or see what the options are and such. So we can do that, if you guys are okay with that.
I'm okay with that.
Because we know what I was asking for, it would be nice to know what Chris is asking for as well,
Fair enough.
and go from there.
Agreed. And then maybe if we can reach out to Tammy also and just ask her what her needs might be, what are her,
Okay.
if she has some weak points that we need to focus on and just
All right.
have a better understanding of what she might need help with.
Right, so, we'll table the decision until after meeting with Mr. Martin.
Agreed?
All right, so discussion of assistant TA position. So I don't think we have any of the paperwork yet for it, right?
No, because again, we need to talk in executive.
Okay. All right. And then approval of COA transportation policy. So Natalie sent us the new one, and then before we voted on the new one, we had asked for a copy of the old one, so we knew what we were comparing. The only thing that wasn't carried over from the original contract was attending the COA activity and or lunch is free. I didn't see that on the new one. And I don't want to charge them for coming here to utilize the COA. So I think that should be, because that's on the old one, but it's not on the new one. So because it's not on the new one, I just don't want there to be that ambiguity for it. So I think that needs to be added unless, yeah, I didn't read it on there. So the rate they kept the same from 2020.
And again, that before it came here was approved by their advisory board,
Okay. And they missed that one?
or they
Okay.
agreed to take it off. I don't, I don't have their minutes, so I don't know.
No, I do see it. It's underneath. It is part of 8. It's there, right before the costs. So. Do you know, Kathy, it said the maximum mileage for out-of-town trips is 35 miles away.
Yep.
But then all the pricing, the maximum they go is 12 miles. Is it 35 round trip is what they're thinking? There and back?
There,
No?
Well, that wouldn't even be 12 miles each way. That's only
I know,
24,
that's
so-
right. I was trying to understand why it's a maximum of 35, but yet we're only charging.
I know the maximum was because, they, at one point, they were trying to use it to go on long trips.
Okay,
And that's why it stopped there, like when somebody borrows it or whatever. You can't do that because if you go out of town, the state, things like that. So that's why they shortened it, I believe, to only 35,
okay.
because there was some issues.
And no other departments can use it now, right? Because it says it can only be used for primary departmental purposes, so other departments can use it.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah, I was thinking like they were saying, that if someone had a doctor's appointment in
Yeah.
Boston, we're not taking them
okay,
to Boston.
Right.
Makes sense.
If not much, it has changed. I wasn't familiar with the old one, but
Yeah.
it seems to be pretty cut and dry.
Anything?
No?
Things stand out. So I will make a motion that we accept the transportation program policy updated January 15th, 2025 for the Council on Aging.
I'll second the motion.
Any further discussion?
No discussion?
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, next is discussion of DCR tree planting pilot program. So we received an email for this, and it was on our last, or we briefly discussed it in our last meeting as topics for this time. I did reach out to Mike Downey, the Forest Stewardship Coordinator and Service Forester, and he said there are a couple different options that we can go with. He said we can do a lowland enrichment pack, or we can do a riparian pack, which is more like small shrubs. But he said that he wanted to let us know that John Edwards, who is our forester, who helped us come up with our forest management plan, he said to reach out to him and to also reach out to Jacob Macko, who is the state service forester, to provide us with insight on which pilot program would be the best for Dufresne Park, because what they're going to do is they're going to look at soil, they're going to look at wind conditions, they're going to look at a whole bunch of ecological information before they give us that, before they give us the advice on which path we should go with. So I did email Jacob Macko actually just today, because I spoke to him Thursday of last week. And he said to follow up with an email, and I did copy Kathy to that, and also Ira, just to keep them in the loop. I was gonna ask if our TA, or I know you got a lot going on, Kathy, but if one of you guys could kind of take the lead on it and see if maybe they have to come out and test the soil, or if that's something they can look up online for their database. But from what Mike Downey said, is he thinks the riparian pack is more for the phase 2, which is the other part of Kendall. He thinks phase 1 really needs bigger trees, but they would be coming in with about 25 trees, is what, 25 to 30, and they don't have the, they do a 75-25 grant. So this pilot program, sorry, I'm getting confused. This pilot program would be just for the trees, and this would be free. They could afford that. So then we got in the conversation of dredging. So that also got brought up. And he gave us a couple different places that we could look for funding. He said the MVP grants is a good one to look out for because it is climate resilience. But he did also ask us if we can find out who the care and custody of the dam at Dufresne Park is under.
Conservation.
It is conservation? So it's the town? Okay, because he was saying if it was under DCR and they inspected it, there could be money through them. Okay,
No, because we
and then
keep
if it was
getting
the
the,
USDA, because it used to be farmland, we could get funding through them. But it's conservation, so it's all through us. Okay, it's good to know. So they inspect the dam? Okay.
yeah, we've gotten a couple of things on it. I think I just sent you one, actually. Last meeting.
For the dam reports, yes.
Yep.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
did see that, which it's given to Dave DeRocher.
Dave Desolate. Desolate said,
Oh, I had Dave on the last one that we looked at. Maybe it wasn't Dufresne's.
yeah.
Okay. So I just wanted to keep the board informed of different options that we have. And then hopefully we can move forward. I can email Jacob Macko, or I don't know if
I'll
you or
talk-
Ira can.
Yeah,
and
I
just
can talk
see-
to Ira tomorrow.
And just see if they're, what he suggests based on the topography of Dufrane's and the soil and because he was very knowledgeable, Mike was, and he had a lot of good information about thresholds and wind, and it was very complex. So he gave me those two names, John Edwards and Jacob Macko, to reach out to and to work with them on the pilot program because they'll tell us which one is the best for Dufrane's.
I can email both of them tomorrow.
Okay. Thank you.
Mhm.
All right, so next is an update on extended lease or town annex. So Kathy and I, along with Ira and Dave and Mary Jo Monnier, had a meeting through Zoom. And Dave is estimating in-house it would cost $38,000 to pave the driveway at the annex. So to be clear, Mary Jo would like it paved if we are to extend the lease. That is a contingency that she has. So the lease currently we pay per month is $2,200. She is willing to extend the lease to June 30th of 2026, so a whole year. But again, it does depend on the driveway. So Dave did explain that he could go over now and cold patch it for now, but he really doesn't want to do the paving if we do decide to do the paving until late June, early June. Well, he's got a vacation in May, but June, July-ish because of the temperature. So he doesn't want to spend all that time and dig it up and repave it and then have the temperature be too cold or too hot and it ruins the asphalt that he has laid down. So he said that what he would be most comfortable to agreeing to is July 31st, where it would be completely repaired and paved properly.
And he did go over on Friday and fill all the,
He did cold patch it.
Yep.
Okay.
What do you say it costs to pave it?
38,000.
And we're still gonna pay rent?
Yeah, and I did ask if she was going to go up on rent. And she said she could not answer that question at this time.
That's almost $60,000 for a year.
I know.
That's outrageous.
So I did ask during the meeting if she could think about how much she would ask for if we were to purchase the building. She said that that was premature at this time, that she would have to get back to us. But I think if it's something that we are looking towards, because like you said, Glenn, that's a lot of money for 1 year. And I know, yeah, I don't really
It's a lot of money
I
for
don't
1
really want
year.
to pay that money, to be
No.
honest with you, unless we are owning that building ourselves.
Well, and to your point, Krista, with that, us paving that parking lot is gonna add value
Yep.
to that building for resale, because it's gonna have a brand new parking lot.
Yep.
Again, depending on a purchase price, it might be worth it for us to purchase it.
Right.
But that even brings up where we're gonna get that money from as well.
Yep.
But then we reap the benefits of paving it
When we resell it.
when we sell it. It's just,
There is there is a backup option. Kathy, Tammy, Ira, and was Chris there too? No. They went over to the old library. I know it's not the first choice, but there is enough room where they could put up partitions and work from there. If we want to save money, because we already own that building. We already heat it, we already do the electricity, we have the space. They would put,
that was
I don't know how many downstairs and how many upstairs, but they would figure out
that was discussed a year ago,
I
2
know.
years ago.
I know.
It's not new. It's always been an option for us if,
I just hate to
I
use
guess
the
if
money.
bad went to worse, I guess we'll get a part there. But yeah, it's just, I don't see us spending almost $40,000 on a paving a parking lot for somebody else.
And still paying it
Yeah,
that year.
So we have town meeting first. We're in a lease with her until June 30th.
So that's something else to keep in mind. If June 30th we are not out, the rent doubles per contract. So we have to be out by June 30th, if that is something that we are choosing to do.
Even if the rent doubles, it's cheaper than $38,000.
Well, yes, you're right. That it is.
That double would be over 4,000 a month.
4,400.
A
Yeah.
month. So that's almost 50,000 a year. Am I doing that math right? Right?
Yeah.
It's 50,000 a year. That's a lot of money
Right.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you look at the square footage still too, but, you know. But, and there's no guarantee that she's not gonna go up on the rent either, because she said that's, and so that's still a possibility. You know,
Is it possible to, it would be last minute, but in the event that the town votes to not move forward on the West Street building, I don't know that we have much choice but to move them into the library if we don't want to spend the money and she won't sell to us. And we're not willing to spend $60,000+ for a year's worth of rent and paying,
Right.
or paving, I'm sorry, right? They're not a lot
well,
of
no,
good
that's
options.
the option, you're right, that
Right.
is the other option.
So do we wait to see what happens at town meeting? Even though we're gonna be at the last minute doing things, I don't know.
I don't
they-
like, I don't
I don't like
the town paving a private business parking lot.
Well, I don't disagree, but that wouldn't happen until July if we agreed on that, right? According to Dave's.
Well, right, but it's gonna be, it's gonna be, I'm sure, if I was her, I want that written up as an agreement going forward.
No, she did ask for it in writing.
You know, and then, you know, again, it becomes, you know, liability as well. It's not town property. It's privately owned. I think we're just opening up something we shouldn't be opening up. If you have to pay the rent, we pay the rent. I'm not looking to pave a parking lot for a private company, a private business.
So with that, Glenn, since that was a contingency, do you want us to reach back out to her and ask how much to purchase the property?
That's something that again, that's an option for the town. I would say it's an option. It's good to have all the information before you make a decision. But I'd also look at, before we purchase that property, I look at it as far as where's the value, the market value. So, you know,
If we're gonna get
2 years down the road, we're not have a piece of property we can't sell. Or we overpaid for it or something like that. So, you know, we gotta take those things into consideration.
Is the large garage in the back, the cinder block garage, is that a portion of that property or is that?
We don't rent it though, I think it's the tenants, right?
Yeah, it's Mary Jo's. One part of it, and I don't know which building it is the telephone company rents.
Oh, it still is, okay.
Yeah.
But does she own everything though?
The brick building itself is, I believe, is owned by the telephone company. And I think one of the garages, maybe the one closest to it, they rent out as well. The rest of it is Mary
For the
Jo's.
tenants?
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't know the telephone company was still
Yeah.
existent.
Yep.
Well, because they're doing all the fiber optics, I think.
They do internet and some people still own.
And one of the garages that goes with the property is heated and has an upstairs office.
That would fix the Ford pickup.
That's why I'm asking what goes with it, thinking in other directions.
No, it's true though. What else, you know, what else
Yeah,
is
it's
up
a
there besides the
garage.
property we own,
Right.
we We use, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, so we do have the backup plan of the library. I know nobody wants to see that necessarily happen, but it's a backup. Um, but would you be able to reach out to Mary Jo?
Yeah.
Just ask her if she had to give it, or if she could give us a price if we were to purchase that property. Because like Glenn said, that's something that would have to be approved by town meeting. We don't have that money to just purchase that building.
Okay.
And then Glenn, you were saying about market value, who would we have to do that, just go and have it appraised?
You'd
Or
have it-
see where the,
You'd have it appraised,
okay.
which I would imagine she's gonna
Or
find
she
out.
would.
She was gonna have it figure out, but again, and I guess to put it, is that building more valuable to us than it is to somebody else? So come time to sell it, how valuable is that for office space and stuff like that? And we'd also have to look at is there things that we have to bring up to code? Because now when you change ownership, some things may not be grandfathered in for the building as well. So those are things you have to look at too.
If you don't alter the building, you shouldn't have to do anything with the actual structure, but the septic system might be in question, correct?
Yeah, and you remember you also still having a whole apartment on the other side.
Right.
You know, not an easy topic.
No,
Yeah.
it's not.
So
All right, so I guess we can put that on next week's and see what the update is gonna be for the agenda for that one. And we should keep the DCR tree planting on there too,
Yep.
just to keep, even if it's an old business.
Oh, we'll add both of those to the,
All right, and special town meeting update.
and we have, Lynn Mercier here.
Yes.
I didn't expect to speak. I was listening.
So,
Again,
Date.
you spoke with, well, we were both in the office.
Yeah.
And, Ira, when we spoke to him, he, had a misconception, I guess, on, because last week you guys said, March 31st.
yeah,
But he would have had to have the warrant done for today for
okay,
you to sign it. And, that wasn't gonna happen in the time after you talked with Lynn. We double checked with the town clerk. And so if we did it on the 17th, it wouldn't have been you couldn't post it. So it
Right.
wouldn't have been the 14 days. But she said she could work with, April 7th.
Okay.
So, he said today when I spoke to him that he would definitely have the warrant ready for next Monday and he would have town council look at it beforehand.
and
I
did
won't
you
be here
hear?
April 7th, but
Oh, you won't be here April 7th, okay.
I'm going away.
So, the stormwater, I know we were waiting for town council to review
Yeah,
that.
I'm seeing, Brian tomorrow. He's
Okay.
coming by the office.
Okay. Because I know it wasn't just this one we were waiting for, and did we decide on a date or a hearing for the dog leash?
Ira hasn't said a word to me.
Yeah, I think it was between us, though. We were trying
See,
to
I
come
don't
up
know.
with a date on that. And I
That
know
would have
you
been
were
probably
going
when I
away.
wasn't here.
Yeah, and you were going away, Glenn, so we were trying to figure out first for the warrants for West Street, and then the warrant for the stormwater for Dave, because that's due June 30th.
Right.
And then
But that we can take care of that at the
at
regular
the
meeting.
annual town
Yeah.
meeting, okay. And then there was another warrant for the dog leash bylaw.
Right, that'll be,
But do we want to just put that on the regular town meeting and do a hearing before then for the annual town meeting? Because again, that's pushing it close if you're going away on April 7th.
I mean, yeah, because of the bylaw for, the animals, I don't, we want to get it done, but it's not like,
It's not needs.
we don't have a
no.
date it has to be done by.
Okay.
So,
Correct.
and I think if we, again, if we have the meeting, the public meetings, Hopefully all those questions get answered and we can make adjustments to it as
Yeah.
need be. So at the town meeting, it just kind of goes through and there's not a lot of
That or
questions
have
about
a
it.
special town meeting before the town meeting to do those, whichever,
On the same night.
on the same night.
It's how we figured out all the dates that last meeting. I thought
It was that one we didn't schedule the dog.
Yeah.
but I thought we squared everything away as far as a special town meeting. I thought we had a
Yeah.
date.
We
Well, we
did,
had March 31st, but Brian O'Toole wasn't able to vet the warrants yet, right?
No.
For the stormwater.
Ira, oh, it was, they were working on the West Street, as far as I knew. And when I went to Ira to explain, he thought that, he had plenty of time to do it.
Okay.
And then I thought he spoke to you, like I said, Lynn and he was in with Lynn, I came down because I was concerned about the posting of it. And I, looked some things up and then called Kathy to make sure.
Right, because Kathy gave us the dates. One date worked better than the other.
Kathy gave us the 31st and the
Right,
7th, and the
right.
14th would be super hard for her to read.
Yeah.
Maybe
But-
like by a day, so. the
She didn't like the
7th
7th.
Well, she was fine with the
is
7th.
really the best date
Yeah.
to get everyone prepared. The 31st would have worked if we had a warrant drafted last week, but there's no warrant drafted yet.
But I thought the date was the 31st.
Was what?
I thought the date was going to be the 31st.
It was that, when I left the meeting the other day, yeah.
Because I didn't bring up the 7th because I didn't think it played a factor for me. So, okay.
Are you gone that whole week one?
I
But it
come,
doesn't have to be on Tuesday, it can be on any day.
the 7th is a Monday.
It can be on a Tuesday or a Wednesday.
I will be here Tuesday. I will be here Wednesday. I come back Monday night into Boston, and I just don't want anybody back here in time. I'm not gonna rush either.
It doesn't have to be a Monday night. It's just, historically, we have our town meetings on Monday night, but a special town meeting can be any day, any that you choose. So if you want to push it to the 8th, I don't think that one day is gonna make a difference to Kathy.
No. Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Can you do that?
I could do the 8th. If we check my other calendar.
That's for the special town meeting?
Yeah,
Yes.
April 8th.
So, we will have, Ira will have it done so it can be signed on the 17th.
Okay. So with that said, we were gonna move that select board meeting anyways, right, Glenn? Because you're not gonna be here on the 7th.
On the 7th.
Right.
Do you wanna have our regular meeting before the special town meeting or no? I don't know what we're gonna have on the agenda, so I don't know how much we can get done in an hour and a half before the meeting. Yeah, so it should be a different day.
Well, why don't we,
I thought you would pick 2 days. I don't have it with me right now.
We had the. Hold on. I put it into my
we
phone.
couldn't do the, well, we scheduled, I thought we were doing the 14th and 21st. Because the 21st is a holiday. So we weren't doing, and then we're doing and I couldn't do the 28th. We scheduled something different.
So I had it as. the
I
7th.
only had us doing March. I don't have anything.
We talked about April, because we talked
Yeah.
about the holiday in April, the Monday.
Yeah.
Right. And I will be.
You're away.
You're away.
I'm away on the week of the 21st, right? So.
Glenn, at the last meeting, you were talking about April 29.
Thanks, George. Told you, very helpful.
Oh,
I do have April 29th as our
See?
meeting on Tuesday, but I don't have an earlier one because we just had
Well,
the
I had it
special
on the-
town meeting.
I had it
Oh, no,
on
I
the
had it on the
7th.
7th.
but,
Yeah, I had it on the 7th
So
too.
now,
Okay.
So it was 7 and 29, but.
So
we
our-
moved that.
Yeah, so our special town meeting will be the 8th, so we have to have a regular meeting in there somewhere, and Glenn's not here the 7th.
Well, why don't we do, we can do it the week before, the 31st. I mean, if you're looking just to meet before the special town meeting to
So
get
do it
anything
March.
cleared up that's gonna be cleaned up.
Yeah, let's do March 31st. I can do that. Can you?
March 31st. I can do March 31st, yes.
Because, I mean, at the, then on the 8th, with special town meeting, I mean, we can meet before if there's any budgetary things that gotta be signed, that need to
Yeah.
be signed, warrants or anything. Those can always be done beforehand too.
Okay,
So we'll go with March 31st instead of April 7th.
so you've got on the 17th, on March 31st, and then April 7th.
April 8th
April 8th.
April
for the
8th,
special
Yeah.
town meeting,
Special town meeting, and then April
29th.
29th.
29th. Okay.
Well, what about the,
He's on vacation the 21st through the 25th.
what about the 14th?
We could do that, but you had suggested meeting before the special town meeting.
George, did I say that?
Did say that. You wrote it down.
I've
He's
got
like,
it as the March 31st
Yep,
you talked about, and then April 7th, you've just changed to April 8th. And then there was a Board of Selectmen meeting on April 29th,
Yeah.
and then May 5th.
So we can meet the 31st, that's the thing we want to discuss before.
Before the special town meeting. Okay.
and then we'll leave the 14 no meeting unless otherwise stated on the 31st if we need one. Do you want to leave it at that? Because our 2 meetings that month. Well, actually, no, we would only have 1 meeting that month.
Well, the special town meeting is technically a meeting for us.
Yeah.
So like
it
I
is.
said, we can cover anything prior to this.
Yeah, if we
town
need
meeting.
something, we can have it at 6 o'clock or whatever, right?
Okay,
Just short
You can
things.
come here, then go there too.
Yeah.
okay.
Again, we've done that before.
I'm open to that.
Okay. I think we got it all.
7th is out.
All right, so I know with the budget discussions that are happening with the departments, where are we with the Park and Rec department? I know we were supposed to collect data, right? Glenn Durham was looking at collecting data from
I
Belchertown.
haven't heard
Okay.
anything from it.
To see what they do and budget it.
Yeah, because we don't know what our budget's looking like right now either. So, Kathy, would we be able to reach out to him with an email and just ask him
Yep,
for
I'll
an
email.
update on it?
Mhm.
Did you, Kathy, get any goals for fiscal year 2025 from the committees or boards yet?
Nope.
So I know one of the things that the select board tries to do is set goals for the next fiscal year, so, do you guys want to set a deadline for that, for the committees and boards? I think you didn't get one, I thought there was one person. No, I typed out the conservation ones from the meeting and the planning board from the
Right.
meeting.
Yeah, that's the
Okay,
only one.
and then there's us, and that was the only 3.
Mhm.
And what are your guys' thoughts?
Well, we should have something from the finance committee.
Yeah.
We appoint the finance committee, so we should have something from them.
Well, even the departments too, they have their goals and
Yeah.
stuff that they're working on, so I think the departments,
Right. Like I always say, it's more of a working together piece, but if someone's on an elected board, it's up to them. They don't have to if they don't want to. Unfortunately.
I know it's hard to come up with a plan for the town, whether it's 5 years or 10 years
Yeah.
down the road when you don't have everyone
I agree.
in on what the goals are.
I agree.
So I guess if you guys are okay with it, Kathy, can you have Kathy, or we could have Kathy send out an email just reminding them
Yeah.
if they want to be part of the plan that goes forward.
My goal is new town administrator, new assistant town administrator, new fire chief.
No, we've got a lot.
A new building commissioner.
All right, and then Curbside collection, Kathy?
Again, that is with Ira.
Okay, Ira has it.
And that's gonna be something to look at too, because, the override that got passed many years ago isn't gonna cover that anymore,
With the cost of
the
the,
cost of it.
Yeah.
I think a couple years ago, we were just barely covering it.
Again, that would be something Chris would be able to answer for you.
We were just barely covering it, and then, we were fortunate to extend our contracts at the time too. But here we're gonna go out for a bid, so that's gonna be,
yeah, and Chris said it takes 18 months, so we gotta get it started now.
and trash collection everywhere is gone up. It's expensive to get rid of trash now.
Yes, it is.
All right. Does the board have anything they want to bring up next time? I do not.
Nothing on my end.
Well, we got enough.
Yeah.
I think we have plenty on our plate for sure.
One of the things that was mentioned the last time when when we got the update from West Street was informational meetings. So I think that would be very helpful before special town meeting. And I don't know, Lynn, if you wanted to, I hate to put you on the spot. I know you weren't expecting to speak.
Slated March 25th.
Okay.
Is that a Tuesday night? March 25th as an informational townwide meeting. We are trying to determine where to have it.
Okay. March 25th. Yeah, it's a Tuesday.
Yes. So we discussed that at our last meeting and decided we do that. So we should have some renderings of the school available, and a pamphlet explaining what's been done since special town meeting December of '23 and why the costs have increased.
Ira and Tammy and myself went to the West Street School on Friday. Ira highly suggested, and Tammy agreed, that the informational meeting be held there or have tours there, because from the outside, as Ira said, it doesn't look like much, but he was totally blown away when he went inside and saw everything.
With the quality of the building and the space.
Yeah, Tammy was too, thought it was a great idea. But the big thing we're checking on is just the insurance wise of people going into the building. So,
I mean, we have to have the door shut probably, so people would just get a perception of the space and where people would be. But nothing's been done, you know what I mean, yet.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's still Richard.
But people haven't been that willing for years, so maybe it would be an eye-opener.
yeah,
Yes.
I was quite impressed, and like I said, so was Tammy, she thought, because we also went to the annex, we went to the old library, and we went to the safety complex. And everything, just so everybody Tammy could get an overview of all the buildings and whatnot, so.
So as far as the West Street building goes, checking with the insurance on the liability end of things is great, but people that might want to be at the info session should be aware that there are hazards in the building.
Right. So they're still working on it. Then I know that we're working on a pamphlet.
I almost think you're better off doing an info session somewhere else and offering up a tour to anybody who wants them to sign up for a tour or something of the building, if you get permission to go in there to kind of see it.
Yep.
That's a lot to do in the
Before.
quick time frame that we have.
I know, but it's a big ticket item.
Or either that, or you could get somebody could go in and film it all.
Right,
Who's it at?
Oh,
And then-
that too would be really
Well, yeah, film it all, and then put it on and post it,
Post it?
a YouTube and on Channel
You can't might be
15.
able to do that.
Discuss that tomorrow night at our meeting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, that way,
I think that's a
That
great.
might be a better option.
Yeah. She can't go in there with somebody film everything, and then they can put it up, and they can start viewing it right away.
And yes, that, and they can view it again here, and you can talk more with it.
Yeah,
With
the,
the,
the intention was to have it here,
Yeah.
info session, but then, after Ira ran through it, he's like, wow, that's much different than what I anticipated, so we thought it'd be a good place to have it, but with the liability issues. So I like the filming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree
And
with
if
that.
people can start seeing the film beforehand, they
Mm.
could leave the questions they may have too.
So the question would be, would GCAN film that for us?
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, there you go.
Thank
The
you.
narrator.
We didn't want to put you on the spot, but
I was just thinking about doing something like this anyway, particularly with the options. It's the two options we're presenting. Making a little video so people
Yeah.
get some information.
That's a good
That'd be
idea.
great.
yeah, good. All right.
I'll discuss that tomorrow's meeting and get in touch.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
That
So,
sounds
so,
great.
so the walkthrough is gonna be off, we're not gonna do that.
I think take it off the table.
Investigate that.
I think the video is a better option.
Yeah.
Then we don't have to worry about any liability or health hazards.
So then we'll have the info session here.
Yep.
And
Yes.
then,
Yeah.
And the video prior.
yeah,
then,
well,
like,
the video out whenever it's ready and then.
Yeah.
then you can even still have it playing
Staying
here.
here,
Right.
sure. Yeah.
Then people would have the option to watch it
Before.
much, before,
Yeah.
before we even get to that stage.
But again, well, it's
Give
2
them
weeks,
more.
so there's so much to do in 2 weeks. but
Right.
Yeah.
If it's,
But at least it would give them a few days. If they can't make the info session, they could see what's going on and then
right,
pick it up from there.
right.
So I think it is a better option.
Right. If you don't have the time to see it before the info, the time after to see it before the
Right.
town meeting
And at town meeting,
and that town meeting.
we can have it playing, but
Yeah, that's a good idea. All right. Well, that was my only question. So if there's nothing else, we will go into executive session 30A-21-A-2 to conduct strategy sessions in preparation for negotiations with non-union personnel or to conduct collective bargaining sessions or contract negotiations with non-union personnel. Roll call vote, Dufresne, aye.
Labonte, aye.
Sexton, aye.
And we will only come out to adjourn the original meeting. Thank you.